touching on the top prop bets in the NBA today. All right, everyone, welcome back into another PrizePicks video. We have a big slate on this Taco Tuesday. 13 games in NBA. We got NHL ready to go. Got a little bit of PGA as well. Masters tournaments there. And guys, I do want to call out, I do have some Masters content out there right now. So check that out. If you guys are current site members, you have access to all the Masters tools as well. That's included with this prop cheat sheet. But with that, it's going to be a day in which I think we're going to see a lot of good odds come and go because it's such a high volume day in terms of the props that are going to be available for us. And with that, it's going to be tougher for PrizePicks to adjust or put out the correct lines right away. So that to me is something we should be able to take advantage of. And it's kind of a fun day. Obviously, we got Taco Tuesdays, which should hopefully mean that we're going to be able to have a profitable day, especially given the amount of games that are available. The last couple of Taco Tuesdays, they've been tighter slates because we haven't had that many games available. Well, today we do. So for me, it's exciting for that. I do just want to start off with the NHL and MLB props. And just real quick, yesterday's bet of the day did hit, profiting 2 units. We can see we had a push there, which is kind of why we played it. We saw that the line should have been probably at 2.5. Tyler did miss 2 shots on goal, so easily could have got the over there, but the 2 ones that we liked the most both hit. So, good Monday, finally a really good Monday. Yeah, let's get into today's picks, though. So MLB-wise, I have been kind of wanting to target the pitchers more than batters for the most part. So we got pitcher strikeouts. Dylan over 3.5, favored at minus 138.5. So a pretty good prop line that we are getting there. Now, this really does seem like it could be a situation in which we are just betting on the amount of innings that he does pitch. He is someone that did have a good spring. We can see the ERA was 2, 20 strikeouts in 18 innings. So to me, that's going to be encouraging. So yeah, for now, I'd be fine kind of taking that. If he gets, 5 innings, we just need one where he gets over 2 strikeouts. Not even really. If he gets 5 innings, we just need a strikeout per inning. And then from there, we have another one. Luis over 2.5 earned runs given up. That's favored at minus 137. And so looking at it, it's crazy how many of these DFS sites do not have the game logs in there. Played well in the opening day decision against the Guardians. Did not give up a run. Pitched well. So to me, I would say this is less of a really go out and use. I do like the Dylan one a decent amount. And then just trying to find maybe some potential other ones. Nothing too crazy. We can see the over bets that we are getting seem to be correct. But like I said, this is probably going to be something that does update throughout the day. We can get some favorable odds throughout the day. And I guess if you're looking for some pitcher props where maybe it's just going to be a push, we have these two minus 150. 4.5 is the average sportsbook line. That's why PrizePicks has bumped them up, but it could be something there. But yeah, let's go ahead and switch to NHL. So looking at it, and guys, this is a theme with NHL. It's typically the lines are going to be tighter, especially early on in the day. PrizePicks has been very good about adjusting these throughout the day. But we can see with Erik Karlsson, we are getting over 2.5 shots on goal, set at minus 139 on average for the over, which is really good. And then the under is set at plus 59, which is, pretty good. And so if we look at it, the worry would be that he's only been over this twice over his last 5 games, but we can see 2 of those games he got 2, which to me is encouraging. I like to see a player either getting over it or being close to getting over it. So 4 out of the last 5 games, he's been right there. Just need one more shot on goal tonight. And given the fact that he hasn't had it the last 2, that's probably why they are favoring it tonight. And then from there, we do have a couple of lines that I guess we could use as pushes, kind of like Tyler last night, where PrizePicks hasn't really adjusted the line. And I don't know if they are actually going to adjust the line, but it's really any one of these ones that are under plus 100 for the over, I'd be fine with, because we can see, especially this one, these 3 right here are basically pushes. And if you go back a little bit further, kind of pushes as well in terms of the PrizePick line being set a half of a prop line lower than it should be compared to what the average sportsbook line has out there. But that's kind of a straightforward board for now for NHL and MLB. Like I said, that's going to be updating throughout the day as the props come in. Let's go ahead and switch over into NBA. So NBA wise, the lines are pretty tight right now. We can kind of see that. I do think Anthony Davis is going to present some good props today if LeBron is ruled out. They are chasing that playoff spot, so I kind of expect LeBron to be active and to play. But if he's out, then Anthony Davis does get a good big old bump right there. Looking at underbets, we don't have any significantly good ones there. Let's sort by the biggest prop line differences that we are getting. And I'm going to take out the fantasy score props. Don't mind Bam actually, but all right, guys, look at this. This is extremely interesting. We have a few props here, especially with Bam, where the over is being favored at minus 110 or so. And we're getting an average prop line difference of 1. that is a great kind of buying opportunity there. And we got a bunch of these, James Wiseman as well, Jaden Ivey. And what's interesting there is these two teams are playing. So we do have a potential for a stacking opportunity. I kind of teased that at the end of yesterday's video, is that we have such a big NBA DFS slate that we might have a chance to run out some stacks that I don't encourage on PrizePicks Taco Tuesdays, because, the taco typically hits. And so if you just pair that with a, prop that's like minus 137 or better, 54% likelihood to hit, you are basically giving yourself, when you adjust for the taco hitting, let's just say 95% of the time, you're pretty much giving yourself a 52% chance for your tacos to hit. And obviously, if you increase those odds, you're benefiting a lot more. Today is kind of interesting because we have a big NBA DFS slate. There's going to be a lot of injury news. Thus, we might have the potential for some stacks, and we already are seeing that we have a slight stacking opportunity here as well. So the thing we'd have to figure out is which one would we want to do the most? Bam, points, rebounds, and assists. Average sportsbook line has it set at 131.5, favored at minus 113. PrizePicks has it set at 30.5. And I typically do like to do those ones. The biggest issue that I've had with Bam lately is the fact that with Kevin Love on the court, we have seen Bam's production drop. Now, the expected starting lineup is projected to be Jimmy Butler starting at the power forward, Gabe Vincent at the point guard, and Max Strus at the small forward, which means Tyler Hero shoe guard, and then Bam. But Bam is currently a game time decision as well. But if we get news that Kevin Love is going to sit again, not start, then I would say this line that we're getting for Bam is pretty appealing, especially given the fact that the last time they went against Detroit had a really good game. He should be able to go off tonight. So I would be favoring this one. And then going along with that, we do have a little bit of a tighter prop there for Jaden Ivey. It's basically a push, but a push at 25.5. PrizePicks says that at 24.5. So if we are kind of chasing this game, a game that, does have a big potential to be a blowout, we would be betting on Jaden Ivey being able to keep it close. And then we also do see we got James Wiseman, who it is favoring the under, but the under at 22.5. And the biggest question mark we're going to have with someone like James Wiseman is literally going to be foul trouble, because Detroit's going to be without a lot of players. Bagley's out, Bogdanovich is still out, Magruder's still out, Isaiah Stewart's still out, Alec Burks is still out. So they're going to be without a lot of their good players. The biggest thing that we get, though, is that Bagley news. Now, lately, Wiseman has, the games have been blowouts. He's been getting some foul trouble. But if we look at that last game against Miami, he was able to stay out of foul trouble, and thus he had a good game. Now, that was partially due to just needing to have minutes because Jalen Duren got injured in that game. So that meant Bagley and Wiseman had to get a lot of run. Well, now it's kind of flipped. We know that Bagley's going to be out, so Wiseman and Duren should be more likely to get closer to 30 minutes. And so let's look at that. It's projected to get right around, let's just say 26 minutes. We need more minutes than that from James Wiseman for this prop to hit. And that's kind of why I do feel better about it being a game stack, because we are more or less betting on the game staying close. I would say if the game stays close, that's going to mean Wiseman didn't get into foul trouble. That's going to mean Jaden Ivey did have a good game. And so real quick, let's look at Jaden Ivey as well. Projected at 32 minutes or so. And if he does get those minutes, we can see all the metrics kind of suggest that it should be close. Slightly projected to get under that. But if we adjust for the per 36 numbers, and it's tough to do with Detroit, they are without a lot of their, big time players. Let's put it that way. But I'll just do with Bagley off the court, Stewart off the court, Burks off the court, and Bogdanovich off the court. We do see Jaden Ivey averaged 23.7 points per 36, so only projected to get 32, and about 6.6 assists. So in theory, it should be close, but if the game is obviously a close scoring game, we expect him to get the over. And then James Wiseman averages 17.7 points and 13.4 rebounds per 36. Now, once again, we haven't projected to get 10 less minutes than that, and that's why, we need those minutes to be there for that one to hit. And so here would be what that stack would look like. It's not perfect, and it's not like elite or anything, but I do think we're going to have some stacking opportunities. And I'm not saying to do stacks, but I am saying, let's say if you want to do 4 bets that we are just targeting the favorable odds and then 1 stack, we could do that as well. And then kind of in a weird way, I do think we have the potential for another stacking opportunity with the Cleveland Cavaliers. The game is projected to stay close, which was pretty surprising to me. But the Magic have been playing better. They just blew out Detroit, which they should. Detroit's just been so banged up. It's not surprising there. And so their starters have been getting a decent amount of run in those games. The issue here is that there really isn't a stack that we can do. It'd more or less just be betting on a lot of the Cleveland players in a favorable matchup against Orlando. But I probably would not be touching too much of Cleveland just with Jared Allen back, because it does seem like it's one or the other. like Jared Allen or Mobley going off. And then let's just touch on some other games here. We are still kind of waiting on some props to come out. We do know that Milwaukee's going to be without Grayson Allen and Chris Middleton. So if we look at the per 36 production, we actually see that Bobby Portis gets a lot of run with those two players off the court this season. And so he has been someone that has been playing a lot better recently as well. I'm curious to see if we're going to get a prop on him. His per 36 production, and he's not going to get 36 minutes. We'd be happy to get 28 minutes. I would say probably 25 would be the expectation. But it's 18.5 points per 36, 14 rebounds, 2.1 assists. So he is productive. Gets a good matchup against Washington, a team that's going to be without a bunch of their starters. Washington is going to be without Kyle Kuzma, Bradley Beal, Kyle Kuzma, and Monte Morris. That is huge. One of the players that I loved their last game on PrizePicks was DeLon Wright. He has just been an efficient player. And if we look at his per 36 production with those four players off the court, DeLon Wright averages 14.4 points, 5.8 rebounds, and 5.5 assists. So that tells us that his points, rebounds, and assists should probably be around 25. But he does average 2.5 steals per 36 as well. And we can see the minutes probably going to be closer to 32. So maybe slightly bump that down. But he does average around 37 fantasy points per 36 with those players off the court. So I guess let's see. Yeah, we're still only getting Daniel Gafford, who I don't really want to touch today. Kind of think he has a chance to get into foul trouble. Corey Kispert's okay. You know, he averages around 25 fantasy points per 36. He's not going to get 36 minutes most likely. And then Denny as well. He's okay. But like he's the guy right now for them, and this game's projected to be a blowout. So I kind of just, if we don't get like a Denny or if we don't get DeLon Wright prop or even like a Jordan Goodwin prop, I'm probably just staying away from that team, unfortunately. And then one other team that I want to touch on for injury purposes prior to us getting a lot of the props is going to be Utah, because they currently have Lauri Markkanen questionable. And if he sits, then we're probably loading up on Horton Tucker again. But Walker Kessler is out. Jordan Clarkson's out. Colin Sexton is currently questionable as well. We are waiting on news on that. If Sexton and Markkanen play, we're probably not touching anyone. But if they sit, then someone like Horton Tucker becomes another appealing prop because he's just forced into a bigger role. He's been playing well lately as well. Has a high usage rate with Clarkson and Kessler off the court, around 30%. Fantasy points per 36 are going to be around 40. And that goes up with Markkanen off the court as well. So we are waiting on that news. I think kind of a lot of people would try to go to Kelly Olynyk, and I'm not going to say that that's wrong. We just don't have a big sample size on that. Kelly Olynyk averages about 17 points per 36 and about 8.5 rebounds. He's going to be forced into a lot of minutes, but I think we're going to see a lot of Fontecchio get minutes instead, because we've seen this before in which he's gotten a decent amount of run. But we are still waiting on those props as well for Utah. And then just looking at the board again, any under props that we have that we want to touch on? No, not really. I would say for the most part, everything else is looking pretty accurate. And then for what it's worth, since we do add the fantasy score props as well, I don't mind Isaiah Livers as well. Looking at the 9-to-5 cheat sheet there, the average sportsbook line would have this set closer to 19.5, and they'd be favoring the fantasy points over at minus 123. So this would be another player that we could use in that stack. And if we are doing that, we are really just betting on the game staying close. The thing with him is that he might be forced into some run if Wiseman or if Duren get into foul trouble against Bam. And then for what's worth, another prop pulled up for NHL, minus 136.8 for over 3.5 shots on goal for Carter as well. A decent prop that we're getting. But really, as it sits right now, this is probably the props that I would be looking at on the day. We already established that we're getting a pretty good edge here, and this is just the best odds bet that we are getting currently. Like I said, throughout the day, these are going to update, and we should be able to get better ones. I do like the stack for Detroit versus Miami as well. So decent, but, you know, kind of a wait and see approach. I do plan on doing another video. Lots of coverage today, though. Probably going to come out with a separate PGA PrizePicks video just because this one ran a little bit long, hopefully not wrong. And because there's Masters content that I need to get into for this week as well. So be on the lookout for that. All right, thanks for watching, everyone. Let's have a good slate. And as always, let's keep cashing. Oh, if you guys want access to that tool that you saw in this video, the 9-to-5 cheat sheet, that is going to be available in the link in the description below. $10 a month gives you access to that. All right, let's have a slate. And as always, let's keep cashing.